Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. And if you have any questions, you can definitely check out finding-value.com. You can see the coupon code over here if you'd like to join, and it works on both the monthly and yearly memberships. All right, let's dive in, take a look, see what is going on today. Starting with the dollar, kind of a weird setup here. Um, and I do think there's maybe some stuff that is going on in the market. We have a falling wedge that's broken to the upside. Now, is this just going to be a return move where we come back to this area here and start to move on up? Or is there more staying power behind this move where we break down out of the upper trend line that we've established back in the early 2000s, well, 2010s, coming all the way up? So we're kind of at that area. Are we going to break lower, or are we going to move on up? Now, what's going to cause this particular move? It could be yields. Yields moving up tends to yank the dollar up. And I know Trump and Bessent, and I don't know if Powell's in on this game or not, but I know they don't want rates to go up. If rates don't go up, dollar will go down. That is my best guess of what's going to occur if that were to occur. Now, this to me looks like a double bottom and looks like it wanted to go higher. So it's still game on until we break basically this support underneath us. But we'll see what follow through we get for the rest of the week. The 2-year yield fell, and so did the other longer end of the curve fell too. Now, I'm still in the camp that this could be a shoulder, head, shoulder that we will eventually break higher out of. If we break that move, your projected move is the size of the head put on top of the neckline. And that would put us well in breakout territory to the upside if we got a move and broke out that way. So that's what the chart is suggesting, is a potential break at some point. If this is a shoulder, head, shoulder bottoming pattern, could we go sideways into the corner here? That is definitely possible. Not saying it isn't. So we could track sideways for longer than what maybe most people think. But that's kind of what my read is at this exact moment, looking at the chart. Your reversal candlestick is this guy right there. It was the big kind of dig out of the bottom, and then the flag pattern that is basically developing that we're in right now. 10-year yield is down 0.9%. So we're seeing yields drop across the board. The shorter end of the curve fell more than the 10-year, minus 1.4 versus 0.9. But we're still on top of some support. You could also draw this up like this and have a pattern that looks similar to that. And that is a downward facing pattern that's bullish to go upward. Some people are starting to say, well, we're going to break lower. Well, that's kind of a long shot at this point, guys. I don't think I'm at there yet. We need to see follow through. Then I would change my mind. The 30-year yield, it's slightly lower, minus 0.35%. Again, I think that we're sitting on top of a pattern. We've got big impulse move higher with a smaller down selling pressure move. That is bullish to go up. So higher yields, I think, are still on the table. TLT, which is bond prices, I've got a bearish formation of a inverted flag pattern that could potentially break lower, which is exactly what we're seeing with yields. I think yields are going to go up with downward facing patterns. Bond prices would go down if yields go up. So that's exactly what we're seeing on this chart there. It's an inverted pennant flag formation. The 2 and the 10-year is down a little bit. So we had the 2-year drop more than the 10-year. And that yield curve uninverted. Now that does or could have implications that if we drop That would be that slowdown that people are looking for. But right now, it's holding on and it's been tracking sideways in this area here. If we reinvert, that gets us the inflation's back on. If we drop, it doesn't mean that inflation is off. It just means that a slowdown is on in the markets. TYX TNX ratio heading higher. This is generally supportive of higher precious metals prices, specifically gold. We had a weaker dollar too, and I am surprised at how little gold moved. Gold didn't really take a big move here. We were up $5-6 an ounce. Nothing really to talk, write home about, but we're still above support. Still looks good to go higher. This is a consolidation lower like that, and a falling wedge flag pattern. The pattern doesn't really matter. What matters is there's not a ton of selling pressure or follow through here. That's what matters. We had one reversal candlestick here, but it ended up in a consolidation. Silver is up. And again, I think this is going to go higher. We are above support. We broke through support for a reason to go higher. And sometimes after you blow your strength getting through resistance, you get a little bit of a sideways chop consolidation on top of support, which is exactly what we're doing. So I would expect this to go higher with time. Platinum up to 2%, $25 an ounce. We're still chugging higher. We do have some big red candlesticks, almost as if someone's trying to slow the move of this bad boy. But looks good. We've broken out, and then the best thing to do is to do nothing. Just play it on out. Platinum breaking out and outperforming gold says something about the market conditions. And generally, when platinum outperforms, we generally see crude oil outperform. Generally. And I'm not talking about day-to-day movements. I'm talking about the bigger picture view. So when platinum outperforms, what it is saying is that we're in an inflationary environment, or starting an inflationary environment that was not present back here. So this is a change going on here. It's the beginning of a change. Palladium also heading higher, 3.19%. That's a pretty good move. It looks really good. Looks very strong. I've got the upward arrow there that I drew, and everything looks good to go higher. Platinum, palladium, silver looks good. Gold looks good. They all look good. And I do think this is a big double bottom that is going to work its way on upward. XAU to gold ratio, the gold and silver mining companies, we were down 0.24%. But again, to reinstate this every time I do this, gold and silver mining companies are incredibly cheap to gold, and we have a long valuation runway to run. We could see ridiculous moves in the gold and silver mining companies against gold itself. If gold is in an uptrend, we could see ridiculous moves in gold and silver mining companies. GDX is up 1.5%. Looks good to go higher. There's nothing here that scares me. This arrow, ever since we broke the downward-facing flag pattern, remains up. These are just little flag patterns or downward-facing patterns. GDXJ still looks okay. Everything looks good. And then SILJ looks like we're trying to close this gap here that I drew a long time ago. And then I think we'll eventually work our way on up. Crude oil is getting us shellacking here. Big down candlestick today. Massive, -8%. I know Trump came out and tweeted something about oil prices. We can go over that tomorrow during the Twitter update. But there were some tweets that he tweeted saying that oil shouldn't go up and that that he's watching it. And then he said something to the IEA, which we'll go over tomorrow. We're at this resistance area right here. And I'm sure they don't want this to break out. But here's the thing. A lot of people are saying that oil is going to come back quite a bit and go towards some low level or whatever. I'm not exactly sure on that. We have to see what kind of follow through we get in oil prices, or if this thing just blew everything in one day. But yields and oil generally move together. And my guess is that they are panicking. They're panicking because they have to roll over a bunch of debt. Go look at the 10-year. The 10-year is sitting on top of patterns. Crude oil was trying to break out here. They don't want it to break out. They don't want yields to go up. So again, I don't know what we'll see here. I don't know if they're in the bond market slamming, or it would be buying a bunch of bonds to slam yields lower. But right now, that's a pretty ugly looking candlestick. Don't get me wrong, pretty ugly. TTF gas up 5.7%. This looks good to go higher for TTF nat gas, and that's going to yank. Most likely, will yank Newcastle coal futures up with it. We got natural gas in America down 4%. It's trying to break out, but we're getting some selling pressure the past 2 days. They're trying to push this all lower. Now, is this an upward facing pattern where we could head lower? It's possible. Something on the lines of maybe that. You could draw it straight. It could be but we entered it from the top side down. So we'll see if we break higher or lower here. Sometimes, I mean, we're seeing a lot of weird stuff going on. There's a lot of news in the market, and things can get pretty volatile. I'm sure some people are looking at this and going, could this be a potential shoulder that we come back down here? I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but we need to produce a lot more natural gas than what we are, and I don't think that would do it. Boy, XOP, yeah, you know me, get some strong selling pressure. Now, I'm going to move this guy here, and if we focus on kind of what we're looking at here, we were right at resistance, and a lot of the times the way that something goes up is the same way that it falls. So if I were to kind of just grab this shorter term movement here, actually, I'm just going to grab this movement here. And then I flip it, because remember the resistance and all that stuff's in the same location. So we get a kind of a bigger move off its bottom, and then maybe something like that occurs where we consolidate in this general area. It's also possible that this is more like that, where we go sideways or chop kind of lower and do a very similar move to come on up and then come back to here, which is this other side. So what that would be is a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. So that would be another bigger pattern that we would create on the longer term. And that very well could be the case. OIH also getting a shellacking. It was down 4.5%. Now we're back to support. I think I drew this a little while back there. We're back to support, and we'll see if that little support line holds. Newcastle coal futures are up 0.62%, and I think this looks good to go higher. Give it time. TTF gas also looks good to go higher. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 1.25%. Again, we've got that small little consolidation that we're starting to break out of today. But by me looking at this looks good to go higher. We've got the flag pattern, the breakout, and I would say it's going to do that. Uranium futures pricing is up 2.67. Nice little rocket ship that's flying out in outer space right now. But that looks good to go higher. URA, the equity is looking pretty solid, up 2%. And again, this is a downward facing kind of flag pattern. Looks good to go higher. Uranium looks good to go higher. There's a possibility that we could close this gap or come back to that circle area. It's a possibility. URNJ also up 1.63% underneath some resistance. Haven't broken out yet. But that's pretty normal for the juniors to lag a little bit. but they will move more too on a percentage basis. Nickel still, the buyers haven't stepped in here and moved it yet. We're still leaking off some sellers, so chopping sideways. Copper's up 1.28%. I noticed that the inventory levels are really starting to deplete. So I think copper could easily break out here in any second. We've got, and here's another thing to notice here, guys. I just to notice, look how big this, we were going to break in copper here, and then we had this big selling pressure move all the way back down. That was that liberation move. Maybe they're using this news to try to keep everything down. I don't know. COPX is up 1.36. We're sitting on top of the pattern. Looks good to go higher. Lithium's up 1.66. This looks like it's trying to bottom. I think this looks really good for a potential move up. Usually you get a first move up and then you kind of pull back within it and then see that rip. REMX up 0.77% underneath resistance. We're trying to get through it. We're using it as support. So we're trying to get through this resistance area to the upside. Iron ore up 0.05%. We're still squeezing. It's not ready to go yet. Aluminum up 1.18. Not looking too bad here. A little bit of selling pressure today with that wick at the top. I had this as a potential inverted flag pattern, but everything else looks pretty good in the base metals. So I'd be surprised if it went lower. Baltic Dry Index down 3.5%. That says Monday. Let me see if that was Friday, June 20th. So it is delayed, right at resistance. Very, very long-term resistance. That also has a similar kind of cup and inverted head shoulder thing going on there, right at the neckline. Emerging markets are up 0.82%. It likes the weaker yield, weaker dollar. That is a bullish pattern to go higher. That's a bullish piercing pattern, the candlestick today. And we're above a whole bunch of support. Moo down slightly, and again, we're not really falling with a ton of selling pressure. Another thing to keep in mind, maybe throw XOP on top of this. XOP and Moo, they move very similarly. Usually in an inflationary environment, XOP is just more volatile than Moo. But we're starting to turn higher in Moo. It makes me think that XOP will also go higher with time, that these will move together like history has. KRE up 1.6%. That looks like a bullish engulfing trying to go higher. We're putting in the shoulder of this potential shoulder, head, shoulder. And what I'll do is I'll just put this shoulder, head, shoulder there. XHB also putting in a lot of, big move today, 2.73%. Could this be kind of a shoulder, head, shoulder deal going on? It sure looks like that to me. We could go higher. Now, I think this is highly sensitive to interest rates at the moment. So it really depends on where interest rates go. If interest rates are going to fall, what I think will do well, home builders could do incredibly well if interest rates fall. Russell 2000's up 1.1%. That looks like it wants to go higher. Makes me think that they're going to try to push yields down. That's my guess. Shoulder, head, shoulder at the neckline, looking good to go higher. SPX, upward move. We had a little bit of a rising wedge there, but it's moving higher. And then the NASDAQ also up 0.94%. At some resistance, and we'll see if we can punch through that or not. SMCI down 10%, back within the pattern. That was looking good to do a little bit of a takeoff. They must have had some sort of news or something go down. Announced a $2 billion convertible note offering. Yeah, that's probably not all that great. NVIDIA up 0.22%. It's still holding on. I've got the arrows up there at the moment. Bitcoin's up 4.2%. We saw a big reversal from the morning till the afternoon in oil, interest rates, Bitcoin as well. But this had a big reversal there. Same with Ethereum, up 5.24%. This was kind of breaking out to the downside. We'll see if there's any follow through these next few days. MicroStrategy still down a little bit, down 0.68%, broke to the downside. And then volatility is still holding sideways. This very well could go higher, though. Looks to me like a consolidation that could eventually break higher. And that would mean a lower S&P 500 is what it would mean. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you'd like. Special is the coupon code. We did a weekend meeting this weekend. It's all uploaded to the website if you guys want to view it. And that's all I've got for today. So we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.